So this is the basic matrix, and I've talked about this. Those 4 criteria I've discussed are actually represented in the matrix. So if you look at the left-hand side of the matrix, you see good and poor fit. That's the first mission question. So any given service, you say, is it a good fit or a poor fit with the mission? Then you see rows that go across, and you'll see the cells 1 through 6, 3 through 8, and 9. So if I say it's a good fit with the mission, it's going to end up in cell 1 through 8. If it's a poor fit, it's going to end up in cell 9. Okay, that's just right there off the top. That's the first question. Second question is it financially viable? Does it have high financial capacity? So you see up there at the top, we've got columns, 4 different columns. So if I say, no, it's not bringing us financial capacity, then it's going to end up on the right-hand side in 5, 6, 7, and 8. If it is, it's bringing it economically viable, then it's going to be in 1, 2, 3, or 4. So if you look at those columns. Then we go another level deeper. Within those 4 cells, is it alternative coverage high or low? Because that will then break it down into 1 and 3 or 2 and 4 if it's financially viable, and you can see how that works. The last question that we ask is that 4th one, do we have a strong market position for that service or program? And that will tell us exactly which cell we should be in. So from that, we end up with one of 9 service strategy cells. And you see that they've now come forward. So each one of those cells, 1 through 9, has a different service strategy with it. I'm going to cover those quickly because it tells us once we've gone through this sorting process, consensual process, again, very transparent. We have all decision makers and the public. This is a very open process. Once we've determined which cell, that tells us what the governmental agency should be doing with that. Okay? Now, this is very, very helpful, especially if you're in a budget crunch and you're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, we have to cut something. What should we cut? Well, most likely, those things, number one, if it ends up in cell 9, divest, right off the bat. Now, it doesn't mean that you're immediately going to cut that. There may be other reasons to have it. But if you're having to reduce services or you're having to reduce your resource allocation for some reason, those are the things you're going to look at first because we have consensus that those don't fit with the mission. Okay? So each one of these I'll run through quickly. Cell 1, affirm market position. You can see how it aligns up with the 4 criteria. It fits with the mission and values and vision. It has a financial capacity, but there are a lot of high alternative coverage. But we have a strong market position. So when you put those 4 things together, what that tells us, we're in the market, we should probably be there, there's reasons for us to be there, but there's other people in that market. So we need to affirm our position and work with others. So we're basically keeping level on this one. Yeah, we're there, we're going to stay there, and we're going to stay in that market level. So it's hold the course, kind of. This one, in cell 2, advanced market position, the difference is that it's low alternative coverage. And so we are perceived to be the only game in town. So we want to make sure that we let people know we're available for this service. And because it is financially viable and it does fit with our mission and we are perceived in a strong market, then we want to go forward and just really focus on letting that thing happen. And it may or may not be economically viable, or it's economically viable, but it may not be needing some sort of subsidy. So don't get stuck on that. But this gives you the advanced market position. We're going to invest in this type of thing. If it's complementary, that usually means partner. We're going to work with other people because there are high alternative coverage. We've got other partners in the community, even though it's not financially viable for us. It does fit our mission, and we have a strong market position. So we're going to look at, okay, well, who else should we be working with here, and how can we partner to make this be available? Obviously, it's important for the community. They think we should be doing it. We have a strong market position. But we are not necessarily making any money on it. We've got some challenges that go with it. So we want to make sure that we partner for most efficiency and best use. Cell 6, this is the core service. This is typically, like I said, parks and those types of things, pretty self-explanatory. Good fit, financial capacity, nobody else is doing it, and we are perceived to be the ones who are supposed to be doing it. So bottom line is we're going to offer that service, even if it has to be subsidized. We get into invest. That means cell 4 is invest, and this is something where we've got a weak market position. We've got low alternative coverage, but it is financially viable and it does fit with our vision and mission. So we're going to invest to improve our market position. We're going to put some money into this sort of thing to bring it out there and really serve the citizens because it's important to them. Collaborate, it's similar to complementary development. The difference here is that we may have high alternative coverage. And so there may be another opportunity here to partner, but even more so, we've got a lot of different partners out there. So we're going to collaborate and support those partners who are doing it well and making sure that all the niches are covered. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. And that's cells 7 and 8. Cell 9, last one, divest, we talked about. Basically, it's poor fit with our mission. It's not economically viable. There's a lot of other people doing it, and we're not perceived to be the ones doing it. So just get out of the market if we have a chance. If we have things that are like historical reasons that we've done it, or politically it's something we have to do, or we've got contractual reasons, we've got other reasons to do it, we won't go in and immediately get rid of something. That would be political suicide. We don't do that. We handle it in a smart way, but whenever there's a chance, if we have to cut things, this is the area we're going to look first. So back, just to kind of give you the overview, you can see how these all fit into the different areas. This matrix is incredibly simple, and yet it gets to those very complex ideas. And so by using the criteria, again, I said there is a handout that's a little bit more detailed. It's a step-by-step process, working with not only the decision makers and senior level staff at an organization, but also everybody who's affected by these services, because again, we're trying to come to consensus, so that consensus in a given community is what makes it workable for that community. There is no one service portfolio for every Parks and Recreation agency in the country. There will probably be 60 to 80% that are similar, but then you're always going to have these different things depending on what you offer, where you're located, how much public land is surrounding you, a whole bunch of other factors that are going to affect how many alternative providers you have is a big one that's going to come in. So you'll come up with a different matrix. Typically, when we're teaching this around the country, either at the continuing education or for students or universities, or even for decision makers kind of doing border council trainings, we have a sample exercise that we use that helps people kind of get through how this works. And so we're happy to do that with you if you need a little bit more explanation or you want to feel exactly how these things work. And the exercise itself shows people the process a little bit more than I can cover in this type of video. These are some of the examples of some of the services, and this is from the exercise. This is not an agency list, but if you look at, we often end up with things like those ancillary services, like should we be renting equipment when there's a private rental place right down the street, that sort of thing. Should we be selling food when there's restaurants in town? Those kind of questions. Should we be renting all of these different facilities if there's other rental facilities? And so each one of these different areas of service or categories of service are going to be treated differently within the service portfolio, depending on what we have and those 4 criteria. Same thing with all the different, column B is just representation of different types of classes or programs that we use for examples. And then column C is different types of park services, because we can use this for anything that an agency offers. And like I said before, we're using this primarily in public parks and recreation, but this matrix works in the nonprofit world also. And so you can use the same type of thing. However you're looking at it, whatever your organization is, it really gets down to, if I have to ask the question, what should I be doing or what should I be cutting? This is the process that I have found through my years and a lot of great other folks who have been working on this that seems to work the best. I am all about systematic assessment, and I want a standardized process for how this can work, but I also want to make sure that it's applicable to different communities and not just kind of a cookie cutter approach in any different place. So that's a very quick overview of this public sector services assessment, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I do want to give some credits. Karen Badalamente and Chris Strapinski have spent many hours working on this, and of course Ian McMillan from the Wharton School of Business. We want to credit him as the original McMillan matrix that this was derived from. There's been a lot of other staff and a lot of professionals out there who have worked to test this in different communities, and it's being used all over the country right now very effectively, very large organizations and small. And so if you want any additional information about how to do that, or if you're even thinking as a student, what is this, why do I do this, or as a decision maker, I'm happy to talk with you by phone or email. So thank you.